will have the presentations on environmental pathways and exposure. Zara, Karin, and Tapari. Okay, the floor is yours. You have 15 to 20 minutes. When you have only 5 minutes left, we will show you. And all of you are supposed to evaluate each other, okay? Don't write your name, write only the name of the presenter. And we will give your feedback, hopefully constructive feedback, to your friends. This is not going to influence your grade, therefore you do it only for providing constructive feedback to your peers, okay? We will distribute it back to you. And it will not be considered for grading.
Can I start? Hello everyone. I'm the first member to present about the sources of the asbestos. I'll be talking about asbestos globally, and Shoga will be talking about asbestos in Armenia, and Jenny will talk about the asbestos substitutes. So for the past 2 days it will be like full of asbestos in this room, so be careful. And today we'll see what is asbestos, and we'll see some history of asbestos from industries, and we also see some interesting products where they use asbestos, and we'll see types of asbestos and products and production and consumption globally. So the asbestos is a Greek word. It means inextinguishable. So it's a generic term for 6 group of mineral silicates. We'll see later what are the 6 groups. And then it's naturally occurring in the soils and the rocks. So the industrial people, they collect those things and they are using for their commercial purposes because it's mainly resistant to heat, chemicals and electricity. So it's using for several centuries, but actually during the Industrial Revolution in 1800, the actual starter was used. And in World War II, they used throughout the world in many countries, especially in US Navy and US Coast Guard, they used for their vessels. And after the war, they understood the real purpose of the asbestos, so they started to start in industries, and they used in many products. So this is one of the interesting products or in history used. The king called Charlemagne. Yeah, that's right. He used in his tablecloth asbestos. It's made of asbestos, so whenever he used asbestos, he throw in the fire, so it will be purified and he again put it back, so there won't be the dining table won't get burned. And so use this. So this is the other one. In 1942, in one of the movies, they used as artificial snow asbestos, and this one maybe our parents might have used for Christmas decoration. For snowflakes, they used asbestos. And this is another interesting one. In Kent cigarette flavor, the cigarette filter was made of asbestos. This was in 1952. They changed after like 10 years. So these are the types of asbestos. There are 2 types of asbestos. One is amphipole and the other one is serpentine. The green ones are banned, but the red one is still there. These are considered to be more carcinogenic, so they're banned in almost all countries. So the amphipole ones are amosite, corcidolite, termolite, anthophyllite, and actinolite. In serpentine, we have only one thing, which is called chrysotil. So we'll see about each one separately. Let me start with amosite. It is also called as brown asbestos. It's mined in South Africa. And it's no longer mined because South Africa, they banned their asbestos mining in 2008. And this is one of the highest risk cancer compared to the other types of asbestos. They use mainly in cement sheets, thermal, plumbing, chemical and electrical insulation. They also used in roofing products and in tiles. The other one is carcodylite. It's also called as blue asbestos. It's mainly mined in Bolivia, Australia, and South Africa. The fibers are so thin, so it's very good carcinogenic. And it also used in ceiling tiles, insulation boards, acid storage, battery casing, cement sheets, electrical and telecommunicator wires, and steam pipes. So the next one is termolite, it can be in different colors, white, green, gray, and even transparent. So it's not used as a commercial, but it's found with contamination with other substances like chrysotile, vermiculite, and talc powder. The vermiculite is also an insulator, but it's less toxic compared with the asbestos. And this tourmaline they used in paints, insulations, roofing materials, and in plumbing materials. The next one is anthracite. They are grey-brown colors. They are the rare type of asbestos. They mined in Finland, North Carolina, and Georgia. The primary, they mainly mined in Finland. And it also contained in minerals like vermiculite and also in talc. The interesting thing is they used in talcum powders. So many people might have used it. And the actinolite is the white, grey or brown color, and it has a harsh texture and is not as flexible as the other types. So it was never used as a commercials, but it contaminated with asbestos products like cement roofs and everything. And also if vermiculite and actinolite, they are mixed together, they go together, form an effective insulation. And we might have heard in the class about the Libby Mountain asbestos site. This is the site, actually it's a place in the United States. Dr. Ali, he found the Zonolite company where they primarily mined vermiculite. Later, some years after, they found the vermiculite was contaminated with termotile and actinolite. Usually the all together, the vermiculite, termotile and actinolite, they all together called as Libby affibol asbestos. And once they found it's contaminated, the mine was closed in 1990s. But the products of this vermiculite they used in schools, industries, and everywhere. And this is the picture of the Libby Montana, and this is the factory. And they were saying like the smoke is like contaminated completely with asbestos and everything. And then our major one is chrysotile. This one is like currently used, and it's also called as white asbestos. It can be light gray or light green. The fiber is very silky and it's very flexible, so they used in numerous products. This one is not yet banned because the people are arguing that the carcinogenic of this one is less compared with the other types of asbestos. But in many countries they are using with controlled use. That means they are regulated and they are using, but some countries they are not following it. And almost 85 to 90% of the chrysotile mines they are using in chrysotile cements. And they also used in pipes, and these cements are used in pipes, sheets and shingles. So these are the three types of chrysotile fibers. This is usually used in textile groups. The fibers are like a bit longer, so it will be comfortable for them to make clothes. These type of clothes they used in the firefighters' suits. And this one is in the pipe bands they use in the pipes, and this one is the last, they have the shutter fibers. This one they use mainly in the roof sheets for their comfortable to use. So we'll see, for the rest of the minutes, we'll see which of the countries produced, consumed asbestos, mainly chrysotile. The first one is Russia. In 2010, they are the first biggest producer and the third biggest consumer. They produce about 49% and they consume about 14%. According to the US Geological Survey, more than like 1 million tons of asbestos was mined in 2012. There are two main asbestos miners in Russia. One is Orenburg, other one is Ural Asbest. We'll see about Ural Asbest because they are the largest asbestos producer in the world. And they are working for more than 120 years, and they are producing almost 21% of the chrysotile in the world, and the 78% is exported to other countries like China, India, and they have the employment of about 38,500 people in their thing. And this is their production chart. If you see in 1889 they almost started, and it was like somewhat increasing. It reached its peak in 1976. Then that's the period where actually people started to study about the carcinogenicity of the asbestos. So the thing went down. So currently they were almost in 463 tons. And then this is the asbest city. So this is the entrance of the city, and this is their flag. The white lines representing the asbestos fibers, and this one is the ring. It's representing the heat. So it's a symbolization of them. Even in their board, they're like the mill boards. They mentioned like asbestos our future. So this is one of the factory. They don't want to ban asbestos. They are not willing to focus on that. And this is the largest pit in the world, asbestos pit. And this is the asbestos mine. So you can see they are blasting the mine. Actually, this happens every afternoon. So the people around there, they were complaining it's like full of covered with the asbestos dust in there. You can see this is the pit and this is the residential area in the asbestos mine. So the next one is Orenburg Minerals. They are the second largest producer in Russia. They are operating since 1980s. So the 70% of the production is exported to 24 countries, including Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, China, and India, even in Armenia. Sugar will give detailed information about Armenia. And this is Orenburg Asbestos Mine. This is their pit, and this is the asbestos pack. You can see the asbestos pack, they mentioned the symbols representing is a carcinogenic and the content and everything. And this is how they store it and everything. Usually in the industries, so far I learned from the industries, they are making like good production and good storage. Usually the workers is not that much affected, but the residents are affected because of the dust from the factories and everything. And China is the next. They are the second largest producer and first largest consumer. In 2010, they almost 20% of asbestos of the world was produced in China and 29 was consumed. And they almost have 400 factories and 300 million square meter of asbestos sheets they made. And there were about 2,902 asbestos manufacturers and supplies. There were about 8,706 products used in, produced in China. So this is one of the asbestos site. It's Xinjiang. This is the site. And you can see actually how the workers are working. This is how they are working. They are not properly covered. They are not properly protected. And the other one is Brazil. This is the third biggest producer and the second biggest export of chrysotile asbestos. They produced 300 tons produced in 2011. They all 13% of produced in Brazil and 7% was consumed. They export. They are the another exporters. 61% was exported to other countries, especially to India and Indonesia. We'll see about this country later. And this is their mining site, and this is the another entrance of the city. It's a city called Minapu in Brazil. They have the big asbestos stone in front of the city. And next is Kazakhstan. They are the fourth biggest producer and consumers in the world. It produces about 214,000 tons of chrysotile asbestos per year, and 90% is exported to other countries. And this is the mining site in Kazakhstan. And about Canada, actually in 1966, Canada was producing 40% of the chrysotile asbestos, but in 2010, they reduced to 5%. Actually, there were two main producers, Jeffrey and Lab Miners, and it exporting to other countries like India and China. There was the issue was going on between this Jeffrey mine. They were close. They were working for almost 130 years, but in 2011 they got closed because due to some financial problem and everything, they again reopened in 2012. And even in this thing, you can see this is the mining site and this is the residential area. And the next one is Lab Mine. This is this placed in Thetford, and they are the second producers in Canada. And we'll see the consumers point from India. India is no longer mining asbestos because the majority of the asbestos present in India was amphibole asbestos, so they are no more mining. And So they were handling about like 500,000 tons of cement roofing in India. And in 2010, they are the second largest consumer in the world. And they mainly used in roof sheets, textiles, and insulations. So this is how the working condition in Indian roof factory. This fellow is using his hands to work, and this is the other thing. And the roofs, they are not properly maintained. So you can see the roofs are eroding. The asbestos roofs are eroding. And the next one is Indonesia. It imports about 78,000 tons of crystals per year, mainly from Russia, Brazil, and Canada. There are 26 asbestos factory and which employs about 7,000 Indonesian workers. And this is actually one of the asbestos factory, roof making factory. They are not properly eliminating their waste. So the people who are living nearby, they are collecting all the waste material from there, maybe to reuse. So these are my references. Questions?
Question? Was it easy to find this many sources about asbestos?
No. It was almost 2 weeks work. From the day she gave, like, we have to work on asbestos, from that day I started. This is presentation about only 40 slides, but my main content is about 20 pages. First I wrote it in a Word format, then I took all the main points and made it to be a presentation. Still some were missing because I couldn't get some information about some countries.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
You showed photos of different sorts of asbestos used for different products. I saw the one which is used for roof sheets. Can you show the photo?
Sure.
Say if it is more like a powder or it's like fiber?
It's a powder.
It's a powder.
Because it's this powder is easily mixed with the cement, so they make it even the shorter fibers. For the textile, it's longer fibers, so that it will mix with the clothes.
And do you know any information about the packaging? What kind of material do they package?
Usually you can see in this one. For this one, I think this is paper bags, I guess, this one. But for the lab, this one, the lab mines, they use the polythene bags. They use that types.
Shabita, could you please say what is the environmental impact of asbestos mining?
Okay. Actually, we have people. We'll talk about that since usually asbestos fibers are very small, so the asbestos dust can be inhaled. It can be inhaled, and it causes for people it can cause mesothelioma, lung cancer, even asbestosis.
And the second question, so you mentioned the countries that ban mining and some that ban usage. So
yes, Canada.
Canada, yes.
Yeah.
What do you think is most important? If you have the chance to ban either the mining or the usage?
I think it's first to ban the mining, because since once we stop the mining, then the people, they will not use it. But in Canada, I don't think like what regulation they made, they stopped the usage, but they were ready to produce.
Thank you.
Could you go back to the types of asbestos?
Yeah.
Which one was more dangerous?
Amosite. This one? Yeah.
I don't know which one is more dangerous.
Amosite.
And it's not being mined anywhere.
No.
Only chrysotile,
Yes, only chrysotile is mined.
and the science is not clear about its health effects.
Yes, there is so controversial thing, but still everything is carcinogenic for humans. Even chrysotile is carcinogenic for humans, but they are saying its carcinogenicity is very less if we are using in controlled form, like if it is properly regulated, if it is properly used, then they're saying there is no effect.
Is there a group that will cover occupational health? Yes. Okay. Okay, then we will not ask occupational health related questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. So within this course, Problem Investigation in Environmental Health, I had a mission to discover whether asbestos is still used in Armenia, and if yes, so where. So let's start from the regulation. In 2005, the Armenian government ratified the Rotterdam Convention, which completely bans the use of a list of industrial chemicals and pesticides. And in this list, you cannot find crucial asbestos. So Armenia is among 16 countries in the European region that still uses asbestos. All forms of asbestos are not banned in Armenia. We were interested where from Armenia gets this asbestos, and we had information that during the Soviet era, Armenia was importing asbestos from Kazakhstan and Orenburg, but now we learned from different sources that the main source of asbestos now is only Orenburg. And in 2010, 255 tons of crucial asbestos with a total cost of $55,600 were imported. So you can calculate and see that 1 ton of asbestos costs around $220. But we had different sources which confirmed that 1 ton of asbestos, cost of 1 ton of asbestos fluctuates between $300 or $600. It is a very cheap product. So to get more information where exactly asbestos is used, we went to our province. It's an industrial province in Armenia. We have there, even during Soviet time, we had a couple of factories there. 2 of them are operating till now. The one here is a cement factory. Now this factory produces only cement, and this cement does not contain any asbestos. And this small factory, which operates now, is Kavashan. It's a private factory. Both of them are private. This one produces asbestos cement roof sheets. So, in 1957, Ararat Cement Roofing Slate Factory was established. It was it was a kind of factory within which were slate, calx, and cement factories working. They united in one factory in 1957. Ararat Cement Roofing Slate Factory produced asbestos cement containing products, mainly those were pipes, roof slates, but of course produced also different other products which did not contain asbestos. But since we were interested in asbestos, I mentioned only these 2 products. And it had around 1,200 employees during Soviet time. But according to an interview with a community member, I learned that till now they have Ararat Cement Factory, which is a private company, and still has above 1,000 employees. And in 1971, the factory has produced approximately 75.6 million slate tiles, 601 kilometer asbestos cement pipes. I want to mention that these slate tiles also contain asbestos. And they had a mission, they planned to increase the production up to 96 million slate tiles and 700 kilometer asbestos cement pipes. So you can see that it's a huge amount of products that contain asbestos. And to confirm this information that in Armenia we had and still have asbestos pipes, I made a literature review and found only this record done in 2011 made by Yer Banjur, which states that in Kanwi-Taf district of Nubarajana administrative region, a 70-meter length section of the main water line was the asbestos cement pipe, which was built probably in 1930s. And this water line was for drinking water, it was not for sewage. This is the factory Kavashen, which till now produces asbestos cement roof slates. I could not take a better photo because people working there were there, and I didn't want them to understand that I didn't use this photo for presentation at the university. So, but you can see that it's not a small factory, and it's been privatized in probably 2003. We had different sources. I'm not sure about this year, but probably, most likely, it is privatized in 2003. It was part of Arad cement slate factory. And as I already mentioned, the asbestos is coming to Armenia from Orenburg. It reaches Armenia in sacks by trains. And I made this photo. This train actually was coming from Arad cement factory, close. The railway was coming from there. And I'm not sure about the destination where this is going, but as you can see, there is no cover at all. So probably, I'm not sure of course, but probably the product that is coming with this train is not covered, so it's not protecting the air from pollution. In case of asbestos, as Shabita already told, the one used for roof tiles is in form of powder, so we need some kind of protection. And about Kavashen, until 1992 it had 140 employees. Now, and those employees were working in 3 shifts. Now they have only 6 employees which work only in 1 shift, and the factory operates only 1 month in a year, produces asbestos cement roof slates, and it's not exporting products to other countries because of high-cost logistics. And I want to say that our interviewee told that 6 employees are not working in the near factory, Arad cement factory, because the money that they earn in this factory is enough to work only 1 month and live for the other 11 months a year. So probably they gain a lot of profit. So this roof, this photo is also taken in our way to Arad cement factory. This is our province. And this house is not exception. Probably 95% of the houses we saw there, the roofs are made of this kind of tiles. And when we were asking people living there, do you know what kind of material is this? Almost everybody answered that this is asbestos tile. So they were well known, they were informed what kind of material was used for this. Roofing material was used. And one of the most interesting probably questions was where the production now goes. So I had a phone interview with a community member who said that the orders that factory gets during a year comes mostly from military units. So the produced roof slates are going to military units, and they produce around 150,000 pieces of asbestos cement roof slates. It's a small number in comparison with Soviet numbers, but still. And here in this photo, this is in the background is Arad cement factory, the fume coming from the factory. I'm not sure if it's visible, but the fume is, in the direction of the fume, you can see that mountains are more yellow, but the other direction, mountains are look more natural with green color, and cows are browsing there in polluted field. So that's all. Thank you. If you have questions.
Could I first ask a question to Shabita? You mentioned that asbestos is being also used in cement production, am I right? On your slide.
Yeah.
So, do you know how?
How means?
Like asbestos is mixed with cement?
Yes, asbestos
Why?
they are powdered and mixed with cements because so that it will be stronger because the asbestos fiber is good at like making it stronger and for use for insulation mainly.
So do they add asbestos during cement production
Yes.
or cement use?
No, during the cement production.
So it's powder mixed with powder.
Yes.
Okay.
I would like to add one more thing. During our interview, I learned that the Kavashan factory is importing the cement from Arad Cement, the nearby factory. And then they mix asbestos with cement. Final product is final cement. Like, they are not mixing the powders. Probably, because I think that cement is like mixed with water, right? No? It's a powder? Okay. So, sorry.
Both are powder.
Yeah.
Shoger, do you know when the factory to produce this asbestos cement tiles, when it starts working, is there any emission to the environment?
I'm not sure because I learned that the factory is using electricity and I didn't ask anybody about the emissions, but most likely yes, because if you look around the factory, it is really, it's not like full of dust, but I'm not sure.
They use a furnace.
Furnace?
Yeah, to have the tiles, like they mix it, they put it in a form and then they have to dry it.
Yeah.
But you don't know how they do it. The community members did not know whether there were emissions or not?
I didn't ask actually because I asked a couple of people there. Some say that the factory is not working at all. Some answer that it is working every day. So it's controversial information for us.
You mentioned that you asked people living there about their roofing material. They knew that it was asbestos.
Yeah.
Did they know that it might be dangerous for health?
Actually, I was also in the Arad hospital and I talked with the anesthesiologist working there. He said that, oh yeah, look there, every roof sheet is made of asbestos and we know that it is like, it causes cancer. It's dangerous. Generally, the population living there probably not because they except those who are working in the industry and the factories.
So those who work in the factory,
Yeah,
they
they know, yeah.
They know the danger. Do
And
they
one
know
of
that
the
it causes
workers-
cancer?
Yeah, and one of the workers, I had a phone call with one of the workers in Arad Cement. That person answered that they had even cancer cases, lots of cases. And also he said that in comparison with the other provinces, Arad has more rates of cancer because it is clear that they have different factories. And one of the reasons is asbestos, which is confirmed to cause cancer. Instead, if you look in the internet, you can find that asbestos causes cancer.
And did you check the rates of cancer in different regions maybe or towns?
Actually, no, because it's like I had to research, mostly find information about sources of asbestos, where it comes from, and where do we use it. And I took phone number of oncologist working in the Arad hospital. I tried to call her on Monday, but the number was actually not working. It was probably fake number they gave me. I don't know.
Probably she was
if it was
scared.
intentional or not.
You mentioned 1,200 workers,
Yeah.
but only in 70s.
Till probably 1989, because in 2000 the cement factory was privatized, but till now they have 1,200 employees.
The cement factory or the asbestos?
the cement factory. But the cement factory till 2000 was containing also the asbestos factory.
Ah, they were together.
Yeah, they were
I
together
see.
since 1957. The slide.
Okay. Questions from the audience?
Have you seen any safety measures in the factory?
We wanted to go inside the factory and see how it works, but actually we were there on Saturday and nobody allowed us to go there.
Even the entrance, the
What?
at the entrance, the gate.
The gates were open.
No, I must. Are there any posts or?
Oh no, about dangerous stuff, no. By the way, I'd like to mention one more thing, that we were in another small factory, private factory, which was producing cement. They were doing it manually. And we took a photo of cement in the packages of cement. There was nothing written about what is inside these sacks, so nothing.
But does Armenian cement contain also asbestos?
No.
Do they add asbestos?
No. I checked their website. Arad cement doesn't add asbestos in the cement.
So only the second factory mixing cement
Yeah,
with
today,
asbestos
yes.
to make the roof.
Roof tiles, yeah.
Okay.
They do not produce pipes anymore.
Today, no. But during Soviet time, they were producing water pipes. And,
But not for drinking water, but for
you know,
irrigation?
I talked to the person from factory. That person answered that no, they never used this asbestos cement water pipes for drinking water, only for sewage. But the physician in the hospital said that of course they had till now they have some amount of pipes which are made of asbestos cement, and they use it for drinking water, not only for sewage. But one positive information, or one very good news for me, was that in our way to our cement factory, we were also in another factory which produced polyethylene water pipes. And the owner, I talked also with the owner of that factory, said that almost 90 or more % of the pipes are being replaced with these polyethylene pipes, and they do not contain asbestos at all. So it's a very good news.
Did you look at the slides from Carol Rice?
Yes, we had a
During class.
presentation during class.
So if I'm not mistaken, only in one community water pipes are made
In
of.
Lichk.
Yes.
Yes, but if you saw the slide,
I will talk about
I found the report of Yerevan Jur. They said that in 2011 they found another water pipe containing asbestos, which was made of asbestos cement.
Was it in Yerevan?
Karmita is Nubarashan administration.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is.
Main water line, I understand it as a drinking water pipe. Right?
So it's your task to raise the issue, maybe. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, and now we're going to see if there is any substitute that is present for asbestos globally, and how are the asbestos used, and is there any alternative present. And we have an overview about the properties which makes asbestos has its increased demand in the commercial world, and also its uses and alternatives present, the advantages and disadvantages of those alternatives also. And why is asbestos used everywhere? It is because it has high stability when it is heated. It can hold a lot of temperature, and it doesn't break during high pressure when high pressure is applied, because it has high tensile strength. The chemical resistance is also very high because it has not been corrosed by acid and other solvents, and it has increased water resistance and absorbency. It depends on the type of asbestos. It is suitable for weaving, by which it has been woven into fabrics and fibers, and is also used for the suits that are worn by the firefighters. And it has high electrical resistance, and that is why it has been used in all those electric boards and batteries, all the other uses. And the main uses of asbestos is that it is used in automotive parts like clutch pads, brake wires, etc. It is also used in tiles of roofing and flooring. It is mixed with cement and it is used for insulation, and it also has high tensile strength, so it is used in big buildings. So it is also used in textiles, as I mentioned, like in the fabrics it is woven, and it is made for firefighters' costumes. And then the alternatives are cellular glass. Cellular glass is one of the alternatives. It has been made by shredded glass and it is passed through hydrogen sulfide. And it is impermeable to moisture, that is, it does not allow vapor transport. It is non-combustible, it does not burn when burned. And it is used in cryogenic insulation, that is, it is used in low temperatures. It is heavy and brittle also, so it might easily break when you are using it for buildings. And it is very expensive, so that is the main disadvantage of cellular glass. The next alternative is polystyrene and polyurethane. These are chemical compounds that have been woven together by carbonate links. And it is used for low temperature like 250 degree Fahrenheit. And it is highly flammable, that is, it catches fire easily, and it produces toxic smoke when it is burned, and thereby it emits greenhouse gases like nitrous oxide. It has short life and it has hygroscopic tendencies, that is, it absorbs water and it retains the water, thereby fungus growth is seen. And it has short life, that is, the fibers may lose its tensile strength, it may lose its quality within few years, and you have to replace it with other alternatives. It has health problems, that is, when people use this, they feel irritation of the skin, irritation of the eyes, and also there is breathing disturbances seen in persons. There is environmental disposal problem because these fibers, they are not easily disposable and they are not biodegradable that easier because they stay in the environment for a very long time, and they get exposed and they are seen in the shores and also in where they dump all the waste, and it takes many years for them to degrade. Usually they don't degrade. And these are the applications of polyurethane and polystyrene. You can see right from building and construction to footwear, they have been used in every product. And the percentage of their usage is also given. It is used in even in furnitures and appliances like electrical appliances, where they use it for the gasket, where it is also used in electric insulations. It is used in textiles and also in footwears. The next alternative is cellulose insulation. Cellulose is nothing but it is recycled paper and is used in house insulation. It is very natural and it is biodegradable also. It is paper, and yes, it should be treated with fire retardants so that it does not combust easily when burned. And it takes longer time to dry, that is, it retains moisture in itself, and it is not suitable for high temperatures. Because it retains moisture for a very long time, fungus growth may be seen in it. And the next type of alternatives used very commonly is fiber insulation. They are extracted from minerals, they are melted, and then they are woven into fibers. With using the fiber insulation, blankets and electrical boards are being made. It is fiber and may not be suitable for every person, so a protective clothing is needed before you start using the fiber for insulation. And under fiber insulation comes the fiber glass. It can hold up a very high temperature like 1100 degree Fahrenheit. It is also fireproof. It has very long fibers, and yes, it dissolves in body fluid also. They are used in house insulations and building applications. Boilers and engine exhaust have been using this for a very long time just to keep up their heat temperature. And they are not arranged properly, and there are many air gaps found in between those fibers. And when these are fibers and they tend to break down. They are very small particles, and if in case they break down, they have been inhaled by persons, and it causes silicosis and breathing disturbances. And the next one is mineral wool and basalt wool. They are volcanic rock fibers. They are recycled, and yes, they are disposable. They are used for making blankets, and this one here is the mineral wool. and it is used in making thick blankets, and we usually use it, we tend to use it, but maybe we might not know. It can hold up heat up to 1100 degree Fahrenheit, and when this one is burnt, it does not give any toxic fumes. So this is basalt wool, and this can be used in houses because it is sound absorbing, and it does not have high tensile strength, so it can easily break off. And since this is a fiber, there should be some adhesive used to join these fibers together, that is the thermosetting resin, which is used for binding the fibers together. The next one here is ceramic wool. This is the highest, this is the one which holds highest temperature, like about 1000 degrees Celsius. It is a man-made synthetic product, where the ceramics are held together and then contained through several processes, and finally the end product is come out. It has better conductivity than other fiberglass and fiber products. It is very brittle and can be easily damaged. In animals, there has been evidence for carcinogenicity, that is, it causes silicosis, but there is no evidence for silicosis in humans so far. The next one is green insulation. Now, this has become a very big craze in some of the countries because this is very cheap, and it is also environmental friendly because it is very easily degradable. It has been done from shredded denim, hemp or sheep's wool. What you see here is nothing but the blue jean. It has been shredded and they've used it for insulation. The other form is spray foams. Spray foams are of two types, that is polyurethane and cement foam. Polyurethane, it does not usually expand when applied. These foams are applied under high pressure on ceilings or wherever insulation is being used. Foams are also used, just like polyurethane, it is used in automobiles and other uses. Foams also have several other uses. The cement foam usually expands where the temperature is higher or lower. Depending on it, it expands and then contracts and comes back to the same state. Then the insulation foams, what you see here is the polyurethane foam, that is, it is filled between two wooden planks and it is being used for insulation. This one is very thick and blocks airflow. There is no penetration or gap seen here. It reduces moisture buildup because it is very thick and there is no place for water to get moisten up the foam, and has high structural stability, that is, it can hold up very long. It can hold for a very long period and has high strength, structural strength. The cement foams are fireproof, that is, they do not combust easily. But one of the disadvantages of these foams is that they are very costly, and except cement foams, the polyurethane foam, which is burning, it gives up toxic fumes, and similarly they change the environmental greenhouse, and they produce the greenhouse gas effect. They require protection from sunlight and solvent because for a long time of usage, if it is under the UV light, it tends to change color and then it has to be replaced with some other material. On using this, people have been seen with temporary impairment of vision, like for about 2 to 5 days. It causes irritation of skin and also irritation of the eyes. And although there are many substitutes available, it is said that no single compound can replace asbestos because asbestos has many properties, and researches have been going on to find out the exact compound. Until now, nothing has been found out. Each of the alternative, what we saw, has different properties and different uses, but there is no one single compound which can become like asbestos and give its uses and references. Any questions? Yes.
Do you know any example countries they use these substitutes?
Yeah, substitutes like shredded denim, as I told you, it's been mainly used in US. It's just starting now, it is otherwise called as the pink insulation. And it is now in craze going, it's just starting now. So maybe people will use it in future.
In other things?
In other things, it's usually used everywhere. Yeah. These are the basic alternatives that is seen instead of asbestos. Side by side, they can use both.
Because many countries they ban, so are
Asbestos?
they
Yes, of course. That is why in insulation, polyurethane is used in many places in gaskets and brake fires. Everywhere polyurethane is used. But even they have side effects. So that is what you have to consider. Yes.
Somebody's going to renovate their house. Which one would you recommend?
I think polyurethane is fine because it has many uses, but there are others in it.
The safest.
The safest is green insulation.
Is there in Armenia any other of the substitutes?
Actually, this was done globally, and I don't think they're using green insulation in Armenia.
Not only green, or any other.
Yes, of course, they can use mineral wool and fiberglass. I think they have been using. I'm not sure.
If you were given a task to create a list of preferability of the alternatives that you have mentioned, would you be able to prioritize them?
Yes. If it is only for insulation, then I would go with the green insulation, that is the denim or shredded hem, wool, whatever it is. And if not, for the other uses, it would be polyurethane. And polystyrene also, but polystyrene is very less degradable, so it takes very long time to degrade and it may cause environmental risk. And then comes the other like fiberglass, cellular glass and all. But it's very brittle and it does not hold up high strength, so it has to be seen to that.
So did you have that order in mind when you made your presentation or no?
I just went to the slides and saw that this would be appropriate if applied.
Okay.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments? Thank you.
Thank you.